Greetings everybody and welcome to Madrid Ball. I hope you all are doing good. The Los Blancos have ended the season with a stalemate against Real Betis, and we can say the match was played with a friendly spirit and would be remembered for the reasons other than the football on the pitch. The people would remember the double pasillo, the double guard of honor that both the teams gave to each other. It was a good gesture of sportsmanship displayed by the clubs, and of course people will remember how one of the iconic fullbacks in the history of the game made his final goodbye to the Santiago Bernabeu. The stage was set for him. We could hear the fans singing the name of Marcelo, almost demanding Ancelotti to put the hero on the pitch. They wanted to get the final glimpse of the game of the legendary Brazilian, and it could have been an icing on the cake had Benzema scored from one of the crosses that Marcelo had put in. So it was a game where many players probably donned the Madrid shirt for the very last time at the Bernabeu. The likes of Isco and Ceballos also may have bid farewell to the fans. About Isco, we are quite certain that his journey with the Los Blancos has come to an end. We can almost say life has come full circle for Isco. He started his Real Madrid career under Ancelotti against Real Betis. He had scored a goal in that match, and yesterday Isco played his final league game against Real Betis and under the same coach Carlo Ancelotti. So it's quite coincidental how the story of Isco is nearing its conclusion with the Los Blancos, and as for Ceballos, there is a chance that Madrid may keep him for another season, but the feeling at the moment is that Ceballos may be hunting for another club where he would be looking for more minutes and possibly maximize his potential with the footballing skills that he has. So in this video, we'll do the post-match analysis of Real Madrid versus Real Betis. We'll touch upon a few pressing topics from the game, and without further ado, let's get started. And having a look at the lineup, there was Courtois in goal. In the back four, we had Nacho, Militao, Carvajal, and full-on Mendy. In the midfield, we had Modric, Kroos, and Casemiro, and in attack, we had Rodrigo, Benzema, and Vinicius. I'll skip the shout-out section today because none of you had predicted a 0-0 scoreline, but sharing some thoughts on the starting 11, the lineup, as per many analysts, was the one that we expect to see against Liverpool as well. Of course, there still can be a few tweaks. Ancelotti has constantly been saying that he has no doubts in his mind regarding the starting 11 he would field in the final. However, a lot will depend on how Alaba feels ahead of the match. Ancelotti at the moment is confident that he can count upon the Austrian. In the post-match press conference, Ancelotti gave an update on Alaba as he said, Alaba will be fit for the final. We didn't need to take any risk tonight. He'll join the group on Monday and will be at 100%. It's true that it's been a while since he last played, but in these kind of games, the fitness aspect isn't the only one that is vital, with ability and experience also playing a role. So from those words, it does sound that Alaba would be in the starting 11. I personally am not in favour of fielding players who are not 100%, but experience undeniably does have a say in these games. We have heard earlier that in the Champions League final in the past, a front three of Bale, Benzema and Ronaldo all was suffering from minor knocks, but big players want to play in these big occasions. They want to be a part of something spectacular like the Champions League final, and in the same way, we may see Alaba turned on for the ultimate night in Paris. So let's hope he can return to the match in peak fitness condition. In case things don't work out the way Real Madrid and he desire, we always have Nacho who would be ready to take the responsibilities, and as we saw yesterday, Nacho is definitely dependable enough to fill in for the injured David Alaba. But again, coming back to the more important question of who's going to start between Rodrigo and Fede Valverde, it does seem that this is the only dilemma that Ancelotti has. It also looks like Ancelotti would be feeling the trio of Modric, Kroos and Casemiro against Liverpool, and as I have said before, the trios sometimes do face a few issues when they come up against high-pressing sides in the big UCL games. They do have a tendency of getting run over, as we have seen in the past few years, and in that case, I definitely support the idea of fielding Valverde ahead of Rodrigo. I do think that the qualities that Valverde possesses are the things that Real Madrid midfield very much need, and at this point we can say that the midfield of Real Madrid needs Valverde more than the attack needs Rodrigo. We do acknowledge that Rodrigo has done well in the past month. Individually, he has been on a sublime run of form, but from Real Madrid's perspective, it would be more important to maintain the dominance in the middle of the park. We will attempt to control the tempo with just KCM. Liverpool may be able to assert themselves in the middle, cut off the supply chains to the attackers, and in that case, the three attackers would find it difficult to get on the ball and challenge the defense of Liverpool. So if I had to make a decision, I would certainly go with Valverde. His more mature mature of the two. He also has the big game mentality. His physicality is something that should come in handy, and Rodrigo can be a lethal weapon that Ancelotti may put on from the bench. And about the game, we can say both Betis and Real Madrid had started the game with a good tempo. We were seeing Real Madrid pressing high, making attempts to win the ball quickly. At the same time, they also tried to maintain the defensive organization. The good thing yesterday was that both Cruz and Militao came up with a much better showing. Militao, as we have seen, has been struggling in the past few months, but yesterday he was much more assured. He won the aerial battle that would surely give him a confidence boost, and it is a shot up the arm for Ancelotti to see Militao come up with a much improved performance. And about Toni Kroos, he has been another player who has received much criticism of late. He also needed some positive minutes against Betis, and the German did show glimpses of his brilliance yesterday. He was there on the pitch for only 45 minutes, but in the first half he was dictating the tempo. He put in some long balls and managed to give 3 key passes to feed the attackers. So it's good to see that Kroos as well is picking up form. We of course need more from him in the final, where the pressure would be intense, but for the moment we can be at ease with what we saw from Militao and Toni Kroos. And about the second half, we can again say that we didn't see any major attempt made by both the teams to hassle the scorers. Both Betis and Madrid looked quite satisfied with the flow of the game. They didn't take any unnecessary risk. The players were wary of not putting in any hard tackle which would potentially hurt their opponent. They were all cautious putting in the challenges, and in the end it was a sigh of relief for both the managers that no one was injured on the night. There were a few doubts regarding Casemiro, where he was clutching his groin in the first half, but as the minutes went by, Casemiro shrugged off the knock and he was taken off at half-time as a precautionary measure. So overall, as we had discussed, it was nothing more than an exhibition match. The Real Madrid players already must have been thinking about the final and had no interest in taking any unnecessary risk. They knocked the ball around towards the final minutes, but eventually both the teams were quite content to settle for a 0-0 draw. So those were my thoughts on the game, and let's conclude this video by hearing the post-match thoughts of Carlo Ancelotti. The coach made an assessment of the season as he said, "I'd give ourselves top marks because it's been a season where we started well and we finished stronger. We've been consistent, sometimes we've played extremely well and sometimes not so well, but the team has always shown commitment. We have to praise the individual performance of Courtois, Karim, Vinicius, as well as the rest of the squad. The collective work has been excellent, and so have the players who have made fewer appearances." Then Ancelotti had some words for the club captain Marcelo. He said he hasn't said his farewell yet because he's still our captain and will be for the final 2. If he does say his goodbyes, it will be a farewell from one of the greats of the game and one of the best wing-backs on the planet. And lastly, Ancelotti spoke about the possibility of Rodrigo starting the final. He said, "He's an important player for us. He's often made all the difference when he's come off the bench. He's also performed well when he started games. It's a decision I have to take officially in the coming days, but I'm already clear on what I'm going to do." So those are the thoughts of the coach, and that concludes the post-match analysis of the final La Liga match of the season. I'll see you next for the pre-match analysis of Liverpool versus Real Madrid. But till then, take care, glory to Madrid, and as always, Hola Madrid!